Hello and welcome everybody to Packs for Breakfast. Uh, this week we have 1995 tops ahead. If you saw the thumbnail, um, great cards, horrible gold cursive that we all remember. Hopefully everybody is having a great week. I know I am. Randy, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing well. Just tripping like fantastic here in Rio de Janeiro.
Oh, that's cool. Didn't know you were
Yeah,
there.
yeah. So I decided to fly out for a weekend.
Awesome.
You know, Home Depot pays that kind of money. No, I'm kidding. Please do not, please do not sit there and go to Home Depot thinking you're going to make Rio de Janeiro money.
I don't think anybody does, unfortunately. But
No, no. The only people getting that are the major shareholders. They might be in Rio de Janeiro right now.
could be. Uh, so I want to start things off this week by talking about the unfortunate advance of the Yankees to the World Series.
It's definitely most unfortunate if you're not a Yankees fan. If you're a Yankees fan, you're going, "What are you crazy?" But it's right now. It's like it's the team with either the highest payroll or the second highest payroll, and more likely they're going to face off against the Dodgers, which is also it's like number one or number two in the highest payroll. And I mean, the good thing is this does not happen every year. I mean, the Yankees haven't been in a World Series in how long?
It's
So
it's been a while, and if I'm being honest, if I had to root for the Yankees or the Dodgers, I'm rooting for the Yankees. So
here's the thing. I have always hated the Yankees. I've never liked that team. And it's like I've got two players though that I think deserve World Series rings, one from each team, and that's Otani and Judge. So I mean, I would hate to see those players, as great as they are, go their whole careers without World Series rings. So the only good part about the Dodgers maybe facing off against the Yankees is that one of those two would get a ring.
well, and Otani and Judge, they are the most probably well known, and weren't they both going for the MVP? I mean, you're talking about two of the biggest players in baseball, which is going to be the storyline: Otani versus Judge, that kind of crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yes, great players. Okay, go win a World Series. I don't think Otani needs it, but Judge might.
Well, I mean, the thing is, both of them are, they're both going to be uber rich from this. They're both going to I mean, they're both going to almost be sure thing Hall of Famers. I can't imagine, unless you find out that Judge did do steroids, which would probably, in the eyes of the writers, keep him out. But I don't think he does. I don't think that's an issue anymore. But the great players, it's like a lot of times you'll point to their great careers and then you'll say, but he never won a World Series. You can look at some greats, in the history of baseball, and there's always kind of that little asterisk next to their name that it's like, they were great, but they never got a team to the World Series. But I think both those players are deserving. Otani, he's still young in his career, but we'll see. I mean, as I'm hopeful that the Mets can somehow storm back, but I doubt that's happening.
I just want to know why does it have to be the Dodgers? That's
Well,
all.
because the Dodgers. Go ahead.
That's all I want to know. It's just why does it have to be the Dodgers? Because I don't like them, and
I don't like you. I don't like you at all.
it's just how I feel. I don't know. It's an NL West thing, and the Dodgers have always had the biggest payroll, and they always take first, second in the division, and I never liked them. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But do I think Otani deserves it? Yes. Does he need it right now? No. He's an enigma of baseball. He's gonna go down as one of the greatest. I'm pretty sure. So give it to Judge. Judge needs it. He's not as impactful if he's not. I mean, he's a bomb dropper and everything, but whatever.
Well, the thing is, it's like Judge could have won. He was close to winning the Triple Crown himself this year, closer than Otani was. Judge isn't as good on the base pads, of course, and Otani doesn't play a position because I think he DH'd for most of the season. I don't know if he got. I think he's an outfielder by trade if he's out there.
Well, but Otani's pitching as well.
He didn't pitch this year.
Oh, he didn't pitch this year.
No, it's like he was used exclusively as a hitter. He might have came in and did some innings, but Shohei Otani was. See, the thing is, it's like Otani's going to get the National League MVP, and Judge will get. They'll both get the MVP trophies for their respective, sides. But I'm trying to look this up because it's like I want to make sure. I know that Shohei Ohtani's a great pitcher, so there's no reason not to use him at some point. But I thought they were trying to keep him out of.
Well,
they were trying to keep him out of the pitching this season.
That shows how much I watch the Dodgers over the season because I really don't. I really don't watch them. So.
He did not pitch this year. They did not use him as a pitcher. They didn't even use him as a pitcher at all this year.
I just have not kept up with him. I mean, as far as being in the MVP race and all that stuff, I've kept up with, just not him as a player, what he's been doing.
Yeah, I mean, he had a 9.2 WAR. He had 54 home runs, 310 batting average. I mean, Otani is one of those players that it's like I was hoping he would stay with the Angels or he would not go to the Dodgers because I would have loved to have seen Otani go almost anywhere else in the league rather than the Dodgers or the Yankees.
Yeah, that wasn't gonna happen.
No, I mean nobody else is going to pay $700 million. Those are the only two teams that are going to give you $700 million over 10 years.
And also, since we're getting back into that steroid era, I'm not 100% sold on the whole betting thing, so I'll keep that in the back of my head too.
What in the back of your head?
The whole betting thing that went down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because betting I guess that it's just easier to bet than it's ever been in sports now. Because it's like it's an app on your phone. An app on your phone that you tie your bank account to or your credit. I hope it's not credit cards, because holy smokes.
Well,
can you imagine people with credit card limits of like 10, 15 grand and just dropping it all into those apps?
I just feel like the whole thing felt fishy to me, and I don't know. I'm not sold that it was the story that we've been told.
Oh, you're talking with Otani and his
manager,
his interpreter or whatever he was, where he took a bunch of his money supposedly and bet it.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I mean there could be more to that, but until there's actually some real evidence of that, I won't go into too much speculation on it. I think he got taken advantage of, but I might be naive on that.
Well, let's segue away from that because, well, it's quite honestly making me sad, and I think that we should talk about this donut that's sitting here in front of me.
Yeah, I was wondering about that donut. That is an odd shape. It looks like somebody has already taken a bite of your donut.
It kind of does. So I was traveling yesterday, and I stopped in at a random donut shop that I saw, and it was called Horseshoe Donuts.
Okay.
And it was in Monument. And so I stopped in and, well, this is the product, their namesake, the Horseshoe Donut.
I'm thinking that they're letting their employees take a bite out of every donut and then they just like glaze it or something.
And as I was looking around, they had a bunch of different donuts, but I said, since I'm here, I'm going to get their namesake donut. And
Well, heck yeah.
I haven't tried it yet. Don't know how their donuts are because I didn't want to take a bite out of it because somebody already did. But
yeah, somebody's already tasted it for you.
But
they're not here to tell us how it was.
The maple glaze looks good, and it's actually a pretty thick donut.
Oh wow!
So
that's a big old fluffy donut there.
Yeah,
that does look like a good donut.
It looks delicious. I'm excited to break into it, but I probably won't let you know until after the show because it's very sticky, and I don't want to stick all over the cards. So next week, by the time we get on here, Randy, we will know who the World Series is going to be. Probably the Yankees and Dodgers. But right now, we're going to look at Topps 1995.
I dream of the Subway Series for 2024.
Right. So we've got some. I hope everybody remembers these cards. They are awful. They are gold writing in cursive. They're incredibly hard to read, and they have what they called the spectralight, which I think are really cool. Like they're actually a neat card. The problem is this is from the 1994 season. So if you remember, it was the strike year. They didn't have a full season, so they used cyber stats. They used a computer to simulate what the stats of these players would be.
I never knew that about those cards. Because I was wondering, why would they call them cyber stats?
Yeah. So since this was the 94 season, they had to do something. And I do like the cyber or the spectralight cards. They are kind of cool. And but if you look at the stats, they're not actual stats, so you can't base anything on that.
No, I mean it's truly the lost year. It's truly a lost year in baseball history. It's definitely not one that we talk about very much. It's like, I mean, the teams that were in the lead, I mean, they went out at 113 games, 112, 113, depending on 115 for some games, for some teams. But you would have looked at, if you're just taking the two division winners, you would have had a Yankees versus White Sox ALCS. And in the West, you would have had the Rangers and the Expos. The Expos that year had a .649 winning percentage, which was actually the best in baseball at that point. They were really playing well that year. But do you realize that actually in the AL West, the team that would have gotten in, this is when they still did have the three divisions. The AL West, their winner was 52-62 at that point. The Texas Rangers were at a .456 win percentage.
Wow.
There's a very real chance that a team would have gotten into the playoffs in that year in the American League with a losing record.
Huh.
I mean, at least the National League teams, I mean, the Dodgers were 58-56, so they were slightly above. Hey, the Rockies were only 5 games out.
And this week we decided to change things up a little bit, and we're going to build I'm still working on trying to do the semantics of a different wall, but we're going to build our dream team as we go. So we'll kind of replace these cards as we go with the players as we find them and see how they line up in the grand scheme of what our dream team will end up being. So it's kind of a fun follow along type of thing.
I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna just say it. I'm gonna guarantee that this team is better than last week's, because last week's just was not good.
Well,
was
it's not going to be hard to
atrocious.
do.
It's like it was so bad. I mean, it's like if it was a legitimate baseball team, it would be the best team in baseball. But as an all-star team compared to the one we had the first time we did this, not even close.
All right, here we go.
But of course, scrubs will not get on the wall unless they're the last resort.
Oh, look at, we're starting out with a Rocky.
All right, Darren Holmes, he's a scrub though.
He is a scrub.
It's like I watched. Like I said, I think I've said this before. Darren Holmes was one of those pitchers that it's like, as a Rocky, it's like he would have that one phenomenal game, and then the next game he'd give up 3 runs in a third of an inning. It drove you nuts because you saw his potential, and then you saw the reason why he wasn't a big deal in the MLB, because the next week or the next appearance he'd be awful.
Well, and he had in the 94 season, he had, at the end of it, had a 6.35 ERA.
Yeah, that was a bad season.
Here's an interesting one, Chili Davis.
But it doesn't say he played a position.
Who's that?
But Chili Davis is one of those players that you kind of forget about. But he did have a very long career.
He did, and in '95 he was approaching, not the end, but he was later in his career. So I think he's when we're seeing him here, he's a DH, which it was pointed out to me that last week when we built our dream team that we should have had a DH. So I think he's gonna start in the DH position.
Hey, why not? We'll let him be. It's like right now you have a DH. See, here's the thing, and it's like Chili Davis is a good choice at a DH. He had a 274 career batting average. He had 350 home runs, 2,380 hits, and 1,372 RBIs. He had a career from 81 to 99. So, I mean, Chili Davis, 3-time All-Star, 3-time World Series champion, 91, 98, and 99. So we got those 98. No, those were Yankee years. Oh, his last 2 years in the league, he did win World Series rings both times, and then one with the Twins. So definitely a very good choice so far for DH.
And I think we'll put Mr. Tomei at third base. He needs no introduction. We talked about him last week.
Yeah, we know it's like Mr. Tomei, Hall of Famer. Very good third. Still way better than Scott Lais. So our third baseman is still solid.
Kurt Manwaring.
Oh no, the solid catcher.
He's a solid catcher. Yeah, he's a solid catcher.
It's like, way to go, Kurt Manwaring. Kurt Manwaring pants.
He's gonna go in as our catcher for now.
Well, let's take a quick look at Kurt Manwaring's stats to see if he'll be sticking around a long time. Okay, I don't anticipate him having a long run because he was actually Kurt Manwaring was a future Rocky. He would have been a Rocky 2 or 3 years from now, but he had 21 home runs and a 246 career batting average. He's not going to stay there very long, but there's a lot of solid catchers.
Yes, there are. All right, we got Chris Hammond.
I thought Chris Hammond was actually pretty good, but is he worthy of the wall?
No. Pitchers are always going to be a tough one for the wall because there's so many more of them in comparison to the other players. So we would be constantly rotating. So I'll keep the pitchers in a separate pile just so we can see.
Yeah, I mean his career was nothing anyway. I mean he's 66 and 62, 4.14 ERA. He was. He's like he would be great though with Kurt Manwaring because he's the solid pitcher with the solid catcher.
Well,
But he's not going up there. He's not going up.
here we go. So this one is Raul Mondesi. Oh, this was his All-Star rookie year, it looks like. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, because he came in like a ball of fire.
Yep.
Yeah, he came into the league. He was. There were a lot of people hyped on him. I don't think he quite ended up with the career that a lot of people thought he would when he started out as good as he did. But I mean, this is a solid player. 273, 271 home runs, 860. He ended up playing for 13 MLB seasons. He was the Rookie of the Year, 2-time Gold Glove winner.
Yeah, and in '94 he had a 306 batting average, which was pretty excellent. So
yeah, I mean, he can be started out there. He did win a gold. He won 2 Gold Gloves, so he was a good fielding outfielder too.
And we got Travis Fryman, third base, shortstop for the Tigers.
I like Travis Fryman. He was definitely one of those gritty players. Long career, but not better than Mr. Jim Thome.
He turned down a West Point appointment in his life. He was a military guy.
See, just a really, really 5-time All-Star, Gold Glove winner, Silver Slugger, 223 career homers, 274 batting average career. So, I mean, but he's not going to compete with the 600 home runs or whatever that Jim Thome had.
And we got a Cubby.
Ray Sanchez. That was
holy cow!
That was supposed to be the heir apparent to Sean Dunston. Was Ray Sanchez. Once again, it was a highly touted rookie. They were very high on him. He was never a power hitter. He was more of a, probably a 250 batter, good glove. But he was basically supposed to be the Cubs shortstop for the next 10 years. It didn't quite. I mean, his 272 batting average. He had no pop in his bat at all at 15 home runs, drove in 389. But he did have a very long career. He played for 15 years. He bounced around the league a lot. I mean, he played for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different teams. But I'm thinking that glove always kept him kind of in it.
All right, now this one might be an interesting one. We won't spend much time on these cards because they're prospects, so a lot of them won't come up for a little while. I'm gonna set these ones to the side because I think we could do a nice little video on these later, looking at whether or not they actually made it up or not. We got 2 of them here in a row, and they're not really names that I
recognize.
Yeah, like Juan Acevedo for the Rockies.
Juan. Yeah, it's like Juan Acevedo. He didn't have a bad career with us. I liked Juan Acevedo.
Yeah, he actually did make it up to the majors, but we'll talk about
I think he's probably the best one on that card.
We'll talk about those guys a little later, but we got Dave Hansen for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
See, and Dave Hansen is another guy that he came up at that time, and he was supposed to be more than what he ended up being. Some of these guys, I remember they were being, considered at the time to be really. They were looking to be considered at the time, upcoming rookies. I don't think he was a rookie. I don't think that's Dave Hansen's rookie year. But
no, he started in 1990, but he also had. It says he had back problems traced to an auto accident in 1988, so he had a lot of on and off playing. Because in '94, he played 40 games, 84 in '93, his best year was 92 with 132 games. So I think
he played in Japan for a while too.
Yeah, definitely not beating Jim Thome. So
No, not even close. He had a decently long career though playing. So his last coaching stint was with the Angels in 17.
what a funny picture of this guy. He looks like he's kind of doing a dance out there, the wiggle. Jeremy Burnitz.
Jeremy Burnitz. It's like I think he was a pretty decent player, but I don't remember being great. He was a Cub at some point. He also played for the Rockies too.
In 1994, he was at Norfolk. So,
well, here's the thing about Jeremy Burnitz, and he's not really associated with one team. He spent 4 years with the Mets. He spent 2 years with the Indians. He spent like 5 seasons with the Brewers. He bounced around the league a lot. He spent the 2004 season here with us, but he did put up 315 home runs in his career. So he had some pop in his back.
Yeah, he was a bigger guy, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Then we got Rick Renteria, who was a Marlin.
Rick Renteria.
He was one of those utility guys that could kind of move around.
You know, the thing is, I wonder if he did get a World Series with those Marlins teams. One of the two that won a championship.
Yeah, it's possible.
But I'll tell you what about Rick Renteria. You want to talk about no pop in the bat? It's like 237 batting average, 4 home runs. He had a 9-year or 8-year playing career. It's like he did not win a World Series. It was only with the Marlins 93 and 94.
So I found our pitcher. I don't know. He might be tough to beat, Randy.
Oh yeah, who's that?
I found our pitcher in the spectralight card, which was even cooler. But
oh yeah, it's gonna be tough to beat Tom Glavine.
Come on, Cam.
I mean, you're talking about one of the better lefties, you know, to play this game, and it's like a quiet, great pitcher.
And we're getting into those years where the Braves pitching staff was just so good. I mean, you really couldn't have a better pitching staff.
No, and I mean, you look at, when you're talking a starting lineup that just the first 3 guys is Glavine, Smoltz, and Maddox, I mean, just those 3 right there, it's like you go, if you have a 3-game series where you got to face those guys,
well, and then
there's still a chance.
They had Denny Nagel as well.
Well, didn't they also have Avery?
Yep.
So, I mean, but Glavine, 10-time All-Star, 2-time Cy Young winner. He was the World Series MVP in the year he won it. He was a 5-time NL wins leader, and he was actually a good hitting pitcher, 4-time Silver Slugger. And the good thing is he is a member of the Baseball Hall of Fame, so they got that one absolutely correct. Well, 92% of the vote.
And so in this particular, I want to just show off the Cyber Stats card real quick, which is, you can see it's in red. That was the computer simulation of what would have taken place in 1994.
Well, they don't give him much credit for his record, do they? Is 15-13 supposed to be what he would have? He was 22-6 the previous year. How do you give him 15-13?
Yeah,
as the computer.
And
look at that ERA,
4.3 when he hasn't been. Now he was trending up in 94, but that's from 3.2 to 4.3 is a pretty high jump.
I mean, was his 94 season that bad? Before he got, before they ended the season short. That's funny. It's like they don't want to give me, okay, this is the best place to go for that. Yeah, because now I'm curious at how bad his 94 season was. So in 1994, he was 13-9 with a 3.97 ERA at that point. So that's why they're projecting what they project. Because he was having a rough go of it in 94. Here's the thing, in 95, he bounces back with a 16-7 record at 3.08 ERA. And then, it's like you think, oh, well, he might be on the decline. No, 98 and 2000, he was 20-game winner again.
We're going to finish off with Randy Milligan.
Well, if he's named Randy, he was mediocre at best.
Well, he was...
Randy Milligan, you're on the wall, buddy.
He's on the wall for now because he was a home run hitter. He started in 89, I think, and he was a home run guy, but he was a goofball.
He was a goofball. Well, he had a 261 career average and only 70 home runs, but he did only play 8 seasons, so he didn't have a long career.
There was a game in 1990 where he hit 3 home runs in one game.
He played 87 the Mets, 88 the Pirates, 89-92 with the Orioles, 93 with the Reds and the Indians, 94 was his last season he was on that Expos team that could have won the World Series that year. Wow. I'm going to blame him for the strike. It was Randy Milligan's fault. They did not want him to get a World Series ring, so they said no.
And when we got Kelly Stinnett, don't know that guy.
Oh, come on. That's like the solidest of the solid catchers, Kelly Stinnett.
That's not a name I remember.
It's like, well, I mean, that's the thing. We can't remember every name. I mean, there are some. So I don't think he takes over. Who's on the wall now?
Kurt Manwaring. Yeah.
Kurt Manwaring was a Rocky, so that's what's going to keep him on the wall out of the solid catchers. This guy was 234, 65 home runs. I think Manwaring's numbers were still better.
Another pitcher, Steve Cook. He's not going to beat out Glavine, so.
You know what's funny is I worked for a guy that when I first started working where I work, and he was an assistant manager, and his name was Steve Cook.
Nice.
But he was not that pitcher.
Then we got future manager Dave Magadan.
And Dave Magadan was a scrappy guy. He played a long time because he was a hustler. He did everything right. He played hard. I mean, is he one of the best players to ever play? No, but he definitely was a guy that it's like championship teams need guys like him. He never won a championship, but he did help coach the Rockies in 2019 to 2022. Oh, wait. So he was a World Series champion in 2007, but that was as a coach.
And
it was a coach of the Red Sox.
He's always going to be known as the last batter to face Nolan Ryan.
Really? Did he get punched in the head?
No.
So Dave Magadan was the last guy to face Nolan Ryan?
That's what the card says.
So I'm gonna guess that was probably the last out for I can't imagine they let a legend like Nolan Ryan go out on like a hit and say, no, that's it.
And I don't know this story, so forgive me, but it says he was the last batter to face Nolan Ryan who walked off the mound in mid-at-bat.
Oh. So I wonder if he got hurt.
I'll have to look that story up later just to get a better
Yeah,
idea.
that would be an interesting story to know because I don't remember it at all.
So we have another Topps All-Star rookie, Chris Gomez.
I don't remember Chris Gomez being a big deal at all.
What's funny is if you look at his face on this picture, it's awesome. He's so intense.
Well, it's like, is he already yelling at the ref for something? You know, the ump, is he already yelling at him? It's like, that's what it looks like. He's already anticipating that the ump's going to get the call wrong, and he's just started yelling at him at that point.
So this one's pretty telling here. He came into the 94 season with only one home run in 695 plate appearances, but eventually he figured out how to hit home runs. So what does that kind of tell you?
Well, it tells me that he managed to hit 59 more home runs in his career because he only had 60.
Raul Mondesi again.
Hey, what's up, Raul? You're already on the wall. Isn't he already on the wall?
Yes. See, and this is the kind of stuff that drives me nuts because we got Mondesi and then we got Milligan again. So sometimes these packs, you get the same cards, and as a kid, when you're buying these things and you see stuff like that, you just get so mad.
Well, yeah, especially like two packs successive that you're opening up. Because when you're a kid, you just grab a stack of packs. You don't sit there and try to, just dig through the box and pick random packs. You just take the top few packs that are there. Even though if we were smart as kids, that's what we would have done. I always liked Chris Sabo. He was the coach of the Dayton Dragons. He had under 16 home runs in his career. 268. I don't think that's the first baseman that's going to end up staying on the wall. Or was he a third baseman?
He was a third base outfield.
World Series champion in 1990, Rookie of the Year in 88.
Sterling Hitchcock, Yankee. Don't remember him very much, so
I don't remember Sterling Hitchcock. I remember the name, but I don't remember if he was worthy of. He's definitely not better than Gladden.
Looks like he was a reliever for the most part, so not somebody who you would. Oh, Chucky.
Oh, there's a shortstop right there. That guy's going to be hard to take down.
He's actually listed as second base, which is what I remember
Was
him
he?
as. Yep.
Chuck Knobloch would have been the shortstop. Was it Greg Gagne that was the shortstop for a lot of those teams? Maybe it was Greg Gagne that was the shortstop.
Well, so far we've got first, second, third, catcher. So we need ourselves a shortstop and two outfielders.
See, and that's the thing. It's like that second baseman is a tough role to fill. So I'm glad Chucky Knobloch comes in there to.
This one's kind of a cool card. We'd have to pick which one. I think we already know, but we got our first baseman. We knocked him out. Which one, though?
I can see. I can see. Oh, that is so tough. The thing is, though, I would still take Frank Thomas with the slightest edge over Bagwell.
So would I. I was a Bagwell fan myself, so if I had to give it, I'm giving it to Thomas just because he was an all-around better player. But Bagwell was such a. I liked his batting stance. Number one, I used to try and mimic it all the time, and then he was very good. So it's just
he was very good. He had almost a 300 batting average, but he didn't make it to 500 home runs. But you know what I will say? He spent his entire career with the Stros. I did not know he never left the Stros.
I think Frank Thomas kind of edges him out on most of it.
Oh, but you're still talking about two just very good first basemen.
Well,
you couldn't go wrong with either one of those guys.
Randy Milligan, I am sorry.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to. You're getting replaced by the Big Hurt.
It's like, yeah, we're putting the red tag up in your locker. You need to come talk to the manager.
And Mr. Delino DeShields, he was a good second baseman, but he's not going to beat out Knobloch.
No, Chuck Knobloch was one of my favorite players back in those days. I think his career might have been cut short by injury, but Delino DeShields, we've talked about him before. He was a staple of 90s baseball. I think he played for the Expos for a while, the Dodgers. I think he's, if you don't have Knobloch there, DeShields probably spends the whole time at that point.
Here's another card that would be fun to look up. Future star Bill Pulsifer.
I remember Bill Pulsifer. I remember the name. Pulsifer was supposed to be. He did make it to the majors, but I don't think he ended up. I think he ended up either getting hurt a lot. Don't remember his career. Mets fans will remember his career better than I will. I didn't follow Pulsiver. Oh my God. This is the reason I don't really remember him going very far. So Bill Pulsiver, 13-19 record, 5.15 ERA, 200 strikeouts in his career, played for 10 seasons. Oh, well, we found the replacement for Glavine.
Yeah. John Waston is another future star that I don't know, so I'm just gonna guess.
Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Who is this guy?
I got no idea who you are.
And then we got Troy Neal, first base, DH for the Athletics. I remember him being a hitter. He was, first baseman, DH. Oh, this is his.
Cyber stats.
Yeah, so this was his spectralight card. So, let's see. 43 home runs is what they. Oh no. 21 home runs is what they projected. So, pretty decent DH for.
Well, he had 19 home runs in his previous season, according to the card, but it looks like he bounced between the minors and the majors in '93, which tells you that's not a good sign.
No. And then we got Junior Felix, Detroit Tigers. Don't really remember this guy either.
I remember him having a decently long career, but he's not a notable player.
No.
I remember hearing the name Junior Felix every once in a while.
Well, I'll tell you what.
He's definitely not the most famous guy named Junior.
I feel as though this team that we're assembling is better than last week's team.
Oh, it's already, I think, better than last week's. Yeah, Junior Felix, 264, 55 home runs. Played a lot of baseball in Korea. Not a lot of baseball in Korea. 2 years. But he didn't have a long MLB career either, only 6 seasons. In fact, that 94 season is last year in the majors. Sorry, Junior Felix, we just saw your last baseball card.
All right, and then we got Dan Wilson, catcher for the Mariners. Come on, camera. Figure it out.
Was Dan Wilson a future Rocky? Do you remember Dan Wilson being a Rocky?
I don't.
I don't know why that name sounds like a Rocky. I know we've had guys named Wilson, but you know what? I'll tell you. He might beat out Kurt Manwaring.
We'll see.
He had the better batting average, but he played his whole career with the Reds. His career wasn't as long as Manwaring's, but he was an all-star one year. Ooh, he's an all-star catcher.
Jeff Brantley, pitcher for the Reds.
You are not better than Glavine.
No, definitely not.
Hey, that's the guy that came up when I was looking for Jeff Branson.
He started in '88 with the Giants, spent 6 seasons there, so not bad.
Bradley was a decent pitcher. I mean, I will never say that he was not.
Julio Franco.
That is poor Julio Franco, probably towards the end of his career.
Yeah.
What was his last season, his last full season like there?
Well, he started in '82 with the Phillies, and then he went to the Indians and Rangers. So he had played for 12 years at that point. But he had he had a real good average in '94. He was hitting .319. That's pretty good.
Well, think of it this way. So in '94, you're right. He's played 82 to '94. You're looking at he's played 13 seasons. He would continue to play baseball until 2007.
Wow.
From 1982 to 2007. Now he has some years with overseas teams. You know, in '98 he played overseas. 2000 he played overseas. '95 he played overseas. But this was a guy that kept getting brought into the majors. He was the AL batting champion in '91.
Well, no, he was a great player, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, what was the position Julio Franco played?
Well, they showed him second base outfield, or DH, DH second base. So he was kind of probably more a DH at that point.
Probably at that point. Although, if he's playing for, it's like in '94, yeah, he was playing for the White Sox, so give him the DH role.
And you got John Smiley. I remember him.
I do remember John Smiley, but is that John Smiley deep in his career, or is that John Smiley?
Yeah, he started in '86, so he was a little bit older by that point. Solid pitcher.
He was a solid pitcher to go with solid catchers. You know what? Anytime a pitcher can get over 100 wins, that's a good career. He was 126 and 103, 380 earned run average, almost 1,300 strikeouts. You know, he was the NL wins leader in '91. So, very, very good career.
This picture of Brian Harvey for the Marlins, it looks posed. It doesn't seem as though it's an action shot.
Well, maybe that's you know how sometimes those guys they'll kind of stretch in weird ways. It's like, maybe that's what he's doing there.
I am
just limbering up.
I'm enjoying seeing the Marlins, the expansion team cards in here. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, but I just want to say it's kind of Marlins heavy. We haven't seen a lot of Rockies.
Yeah, that's par for the course. Mel Rojas, he was a pretty good pitcher for the Expos.
Yeah, I think we talked about he was a closer.
Yeah,
I think we talked about him a couple. Actually, I think he was maybe a candidate to get the closer role in the first series until we pulled Eck.
Right. Jose Aquendo. We're gonna start motoring through some more of these because we gotta find our outfielders here. Jeff Rabelais. God, these gold cursive cards, man, they are just not good.
See, I'll tell you, I wish that the font that's on the back and the coloring on the back is what was on the front.
I know. This is so easy to read.
I mean, that is just way better.
All right, let's see. We got some future stars coming up here.
Do we recognize them immediately?
We got Alan Bennis, not to be confused with Andy Bennis.
His little, I think it's his little brother. Nowhere near the career of Andy.
Ismael Valdez, Another pitcher for the Dodgers. Let's see.
He ended up having an okay career, I think.
Here's a future star I actually remember and could tell you about, Todd Hollinsworth.
Yeah, but he was a Dodger.
Yeah. But at least
Thing is, Hollingsworth did have a pretty okay career. But yeah, he was supposed to be a big deal for the Dodgers coming up.
Here's a candidate for our wall. We'll see, Mr. Darren Jackson.
Mr. Darren Jackson.
For the White Sox. He was all right. Had a good... his cyber stats had a good... but he wasn't great previous to that.
Yeah, projected to have 14 home runs.
I like Darren Jackson, but I don't think he's wall worthy. Never mind.
I do not know what this thing gives me. It's like there is a soccer player that was named Darren Jackson, and he comes up before the baseball player. That's all you need to know. When the soccer player on an American phone comes up first, you know you are not a great baseball player. It's like he had 80 home runs in his career, 257 batting average, played a lot in Japan. Actually, he didn't play a lot in Japan. It's like he had 2 seasons at Japan. But, you know, he bounced around Cubs, Padres, Blue Jays, Mets, White Sox, Twins, Brewers. Finished his career with the White Sox.
Mike Jackson.
Hey, another Jackson. He was a good pitcher.
He was a reliever, but Jay Bell. He might be our. I don't think we have a shortstop right now. We don't.
We don't have a. Jay Bell was good.
Jay Bell, I think, is going to go on the shortstop wall. I like Jay Bell.
I liked Jay Bell. Jay Bell. I mean, he's Jay Bell. You say Jay Bell enough, and it sounds like one word. Jay Bell.
Jay Bell
sounds like his name should be like Danny. His name should be Danny Jabel.
Gary Gaetti.
Yeah, 195 home runs.
Gary Gaetti was he was solid, but
he was solid. He was part of those Twins World Series teams. Very good player. I liked him. He wasn't great, but I liked Gary Gaetti.
He's not
Gary Gaetti, Greg Gagne, Kent Herbeck, Kirby Puckett. I really like those teams. Frankie V.
He's not going to beat out Tomei, unfortunately, but
no. It's tough to beat out Tomei. There aren't very many third basemen that are going to beat out Tomei.
Chris Carpenter, another pitcher for the Rangers. Not many outfielders going on here.
No, I'm very surprised at that.
Lenny Webster, catcher for the Expos, solid catcher.
He did not want to be seen, did he? When
No.
they took that picture, he did not want them to see his face.
Joe Carter, outfielder for the Blue Jays.
I'm telling you, you want to talk about a great outfielder. Joe Carter was a great.
I think he's going to go up on the wall.
Yeah, I think he would go on the wall. We don't have anything on the wall really for.
Well, I would argue he was better than Raul Mondesi.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that 100%. Almost 400 home runs in his career.
Tommy Green, pitcher for the Phillies.
He has the same name as Tom Glavine.
Yeah, but he was an injury guy. We have gotten a ton of pitchers. Ooh, Tom Pagnozzi. I think he's gonna beat out Kurt Manwaring.
Yeah, you're talking. If you want to talk elite, solid catcher,
yep,
it's probably Tom Pagnozzi. That's the elite, solid catcher.
He is the elite, solid catcher.
He's that top. He graduated in the top half of the lower half of his class.
Oh, come on. Darryl Whitmore, Marlins outfielder. Once again, another Marlin.
Yeah, another Marlin. If this was 1995, I would be writing an angry letter. because we didn't really email that much in '95. Although I could maybe send an angry email.
Uh-oh. Who do we got as a strikeout leader? We got Pat Hentgen.
Pat Henkin.
Hentgen.
Yes.
Gosh,
I remember Pat
that.
Henkin. He was actually a very good pitcher. Not better than Glavine by any stretch of the imagination, but Pat Henkin, he was very important to those Blue Jays teams.
Then we got, God, these cards. Mike Stanley. Come on, camera. Figure it out.
Oh, the camera doesn't like that gold writing.
No, the camera doesn't.
It doesn't like cursive, I think.
Oh, well, this will be an interesting debate now. Randy, are you ready for this?
Sure. Oh, wow. The Rocket, Roger Clemens. Holy smokes. That is so tough. You're talking about in his era, he was one of the best pitchers to ever play this game.
So the question becomes, you have an AL pitcher, you've got an NL pitcher, you've got Roger Clemens versus Tom Glavine. That's a hard discussion to have.
Well, and I know that some of the discussion surrounding Roger Clemens is always going to be steroids.
Yep.
But you're talking 354 wins, 3.12 ERA, 4,600 strikeouts.
Yeah, if you just look at the red on the back of his card, and you see.
Look at the stuff he led. 11-time All-Star, 2 times World Series champion, AL MVP, which is tough for a pitcher to get because they give him Cy Youngs before they'll give him MVPs. But he was a 7-time Cy Young Award winner, 2-time Triple Crown, 4-time MLB wins leader, not American League, MLB.
All right.
7-time ERA leader, 5-time AL strikeout. MLB record, strikeout in a 90 game. I can't see him.
I feel bad for Mr. Tom Glavine, but I think Clemens is going to have to take his spot.
Yeah, that's sad because Glavine is so good, but Clemens.
And we got Ron Karkovice in the spectralight. Meh.
I love how they project the numbers of guys that nobody really cares that much about.
He was a solid catcher.
He was a solid catcher, and I think he's been in every single season that we've done this.
It's possible. Al Martin, Pirates outfielder. He was kind of a journeyman.
I think he was a journeyman, decent, but he's not wall-worthy.
No.
Although we still only have 2 outfielders on that wall.
I'm working on it here. I like the tops in a lot of these companies in the mid-90s decided to switch over to tamper-proof packaging because they started to figure out that people could open the packs up and search through them before they if they didn't want to like the pack, they didn't pick it up. Well, now if you opened it, it was open. Let's see, we got Ben McDonald, pitcher.
He was supposed. I think he had injury problems, but he was supposed to be a big deal for the Orioles.
We got Todd Hundley, catcher, solid catcher for the Mets.
Solid catcher. I like Todd Hundley. Think he was good. He just doesn't have the name. Doesn't have Pagnozzi. He doesn't got the name.
We got Brett Boone. Pretty good second baseman.
A pretty good second baseman, but I'll take Chucky Knobloch over Brett Boone.
Yeah, Chuck Knobloch's not good. Oh.
Don't tell me you found a second baseman better than Chuck Knobloch.
No, but I think he's going to end up going on the wall.
Barry Larkin. Oh, one of the best shortstops.
I think he's going to overtake Jay Bell.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I was a Jay Bell fan, Barry Larkin is just better in every way.
Yep, Mr. Barry's.
I mean,
gonna...
it's like we would look quite foolish if we kept Jay Bell. I mean, the only way we could get away with keeping Jay Bell is if one of us was a diehard Pirates fan.
Yeah, Barry Larkin was a.
I'll tell you, this team is pretty good.
I remember him, Terry Shumpert.
Yep, and I remember him being okay.
He was okay. All right.
Terry OK Shumpert.
94 Twins draft pick, Travis Miller.
Travis Millering about down in the minors because I don't remember him being a Major League Baseball player.
That's kind of a cool action shot of Wayne Kirby.
Kind of wasted, though, being used on Wayne Kirby, wouldn't you think?
You would think. Tommy Green again, another pitcher. We already talked about him.
See, that would make me mad. We got this Tommy Green twice.
We got Dwight Smith, solid outfielder.
Dwight Smith, the guy that he was in the Rookie of the Year with Jerome Walton for the Cubs. Both of them were Cubs. And Dwight Smith ended up actually having the better career.
Oh,
played with
gosh.
the Braves in the.
Here's another card to wrinkle everything, but they're not going to beat out Clemens, but you had Greg Maddux and David Cone.
And the thing is, I was a huge Maddux fan.
To this day, Maddux is still probably my favorite pitcher ever.
Yeah.
I mean
I'd
obviously
probably...
Nolan Ryan and a bunch of those guys, but I just liked Maddux games so much.
Because here's the thing, Maddux was always around the plate. Maddux didn't walk guys, and the batters knew he was going to be around the plate, and they still couldn't hit him.
I remember watching a game that Maddux pitched, and it was a doubleheader, and he pitched the first game, and the announcers kept saying, well, he might not even break the wall, which is 81 pitches.
Yeah.
And because he had cruised through the first, 7.5 innings with, I think he had 60 pitches thrown.
Oh, wow.
I mean, the guy was just amazing. And I remember the joke that the broadcasters were making was like, well, he might as well go pitch game 2. Because it was like, why, what's the point? He's not throwing anything. And,
I know. It's like, if there wasn't such a long delay in between, it's like, I'd say, throw the guy out there again. He's only thrown 60 pitches. He's just getting warmed up. Yeah, no, Greg Maddux. There's some people that would probably argue for Maddux, but
no, Roger Clemens had a much more illustrious career, but
it's like just the records that Clemens. But boy, I'll tell you, Maddux was good.
Yeah,
that's a tough one for me not to want on the wall.
Another guy, the draft pick that made it for a while, Paul Konerko.
Yep, Konerko had a pretty okay MLB career. He was highly touted coming up.
Bob Zupchich.
How do you even read that?
All right,
I don't even remember that guy.
I was worried this guy was gonna come up, and he got a spectralight card, which was Scott Kamenecki, which you cannot read.
That's awful.
Yeah.
What were his projected stats?
He was a pitcher. 3.79 ERA.
60-7. So probably at that point in the season he's either 13-5 or something like that, 13-6, and they just projected him out to get a few more wins.
Melvin Neves. Man, we need to find another.
Oh no, that was Melvin Nieves. That's how they pronounce it. Remember it, because it's like when I first saw the name, I thought the same thing when I was watching. Going Melvin Neves, and then somebody said, and up to bat is Melvin Nieves, and I go, oh, That sounds much better than Neves.
All right, we got to find one more outfielder. I think our
Yeah, that's
outfield
like I know.
our outfield is a little thin right now, but the rest of the team is shaping up pretty well.
Oh, that infield and pitching staff. Oh, wow.
And we got come on. Carl Rhodes, outfielder for the Cubs.
Carl, take the high road out of here.
Man. Ooh, another Cubby, 2 in a row.
Holy cow!
Mr. Mike Morgan.
Yeah, but was Mike Morgan? Didn't he play for like the Reds for years?
Mariano Duncan. Utility player. And we got Dave Burba.
I mean, a solid pitcher. Once again, solid pitcher.
Giants.
Definitely good third pitcher.
Mr. Mo Vaughn.
Oh, that was he was a good first baseman for probably a good 7 to 8 years. Mo Vaughn was a dangerous hitter.
Yep.
I think he was just before Big Poppy. But
Definitely
I like Mo Vaughn.
Yeah, Mo Vaughn was actually one of my favorite players, but definitely not going to beat out Bagwell or Frank Thomas. So. Tommy Tarasco, outfielder for the Braves.
And he had a fine career. He was.
God, this card's. I don't like this card. It's too.
It's.
Ugh. I'm not even going to talk about it. I don't like the card. It's
not
too
a good
dizzy.
action shot. It gives you vertigo almost.
Bobby Jones, pitcher for the Mets.
Telling you right now, we have gotten the entire MLB roster of Mets players.
Oh, this is a cool checklist card. I'll give him that.
Right there, that's our third outfielder.
The checklist. Nice. I like checklist cards.
Always did too.
Jason Jacome. I don't know how you say his name.
Well, I tell you, it's like, you know what? I don't remember his name being mentioned. I think it was Jason Jacome, but I don't remember him.
We got Ray Sanchez again.
Hi, Ray. Bye, Ray.
We got a draft pick, Mike Thurman, for the Expos.
He was drafted by the team that could have won a World Series. I don't think he would have played for them that year, but
nah, he was barely a kid. You know, he was a young guy at that point. Juan Guzman, pitcher.
Yeah, I mean, with Pat Henkin, they were a very good duo. For the Blue Jays at that time.
Spectralight of Kirk Reuter, Expos pitcher. Yay!
Yeah, but he was probably having a really good year that year. And there's Jay Bell.
And
there's Jay Bell. Really?
Again.
He didn't want me up there?
I'm gonna have to open another pack because I'm desperate for an outfielder.
No Rockies, no outfielders.
Yeah, the Rockies have been suspiciously. I mean,
other than Darren Holmes, the first card you pulled.
Yeah, and we could have had Bichette, Walker. I mean, Walker, I would take him easily as a.
Give me an Ellis Burks. Give me a. It's like something we have not had. I mean, this thing has been bereft of.
We got Mickey, great player. Liked Mickey.
I always like the name Mickey Morandini.
Juan Gonzalez.
That's an outfielder, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, Juan Gonzalez had a very good career.
He did.
It's like I think right now. It's like I think he's better than any other guy we pulled for the outfield.
Yeah, I think
it's like that outfield is going to struggle defensively.
Yes, it is.
You've only got Raul Mondesi that had any kind of real range.
Hey, we ended up with the card from the front of the box, Royce Clayton's.
The featured card made it.
Featured card.
We got the featured card.
Jose Mesa pitcher.
Good pitcher.
Kim Batiste, third baseman for the Phillies.
But you're not better than Tomei.
John Smiley.
You're almost not better than Leyes.
This is another interesting conversation, Randy. Are you ready for this?
Sir, hit me with it. Come on. Wade Boggs. Wow. Yeah, but the thing is, Tomei had pop in his bat. Boggs was always one of my favorite players. I liked him when he was with the Sox. I didn't like that he went to the Yankees. But Wade Boggs is an amazing player too, kind of in that same mold as a Robin Yount. Of course, they played two different positions, but I always when I would think of like Robin Yount or Wade Boggs, the other one always came to mind. I don't know why that was. But they were both just such phenomenal players. And Wade Boggs is a member of the 3,000 hit club, 328 career batting average. His only problem is he had no pop, only 118 home runs.
Executive decision, Randy.
What's your executive
decision? Is going on to the wall.
Well, we had Tomei last week. Tomei had more pop, but Boggs was a better batting average.
Boggs made it to 10 consecutive All-Star games.
Oh, yeah. Boggs was great. I don't have any problem with that. I liked him. Hey, isn't that guy a broadcaster?
Harold Reynolds? Might be.
He played baseball?
Then you got Darren Hall, pitcher for the Blue Jays. John Valentine, good shortstop.
Yeah. Back when I was hoping the Red Sox could win a World Series.
Steve Buechele for the Cubbies.
Third baseman Steve Buechele.
Yep.
That would have taken him over Scott Leyes.
94 draft pick Ben Grieve. He made it for a little while.
Yeah, he did. Looks like he did indeed.
Star Trek Alex Gonzalez. Chuck McElroy.
Chuck McElroy, former Cub. Chuck McElroy. I think he was a Rocky too.
He was. He was our cyberstat. They projected him. He was a mid reliever at this point, I think, but pretty good ERA in the simulated season.
Well, McElroy was always one of those. He was a really good bullpen guy, he was a Rocky for 2 years.
The last card of the pack, Randy. We found.
Really?
We found. We're gonna have to replace our outfield.
The whole outfield with one guy?
No, but we're gonna have to. I think Raul Mondesi is gonna get kicked off the wall because. You know what? I think it might be Chili Davis that gets kicked off the wall. All right, you ready?
Well, wasn't Chili Davis our DH?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So this guy's a really good hitter. Oh wow, Dave Winfield. Yeah, I would put Winfield as our DH
at that point in his career. Yep.
That man isn't tracking anything down except for a ball that's hit right at him. It's like I like Dave Winfield. I always was a Winfield fan. But yeah, I like that. I like Winfield being there.
All right. Well,
that's a good pull. Our outfield, I feel like, is a little weak.
Our outfield is very weak. But if we look at our team, so we'll start from the bottom. We'll go DH is Mr. Dave Winfield. And then we got our pitcher, Roger Clemens. That's 2 Hall of Famers. Well, kind of.
Well, Dave Winfield is a Hall of Famer.
Yes, but Clemens is not.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
We got Pagnozzi.
You just assume he should be in.
Pagnozzi, solid catcher.
That will be the 9th guy in the batting line.
We got Chuck Knobloch.
That's our number 2 hitter probably.
Yep. And then we got guaranteed cleanup, Mr. Frank Thomas.
He will drive in the runs, and he will do it with a good batting average.
And then we got the ever-present Barry Larkin as our short.
Barry Larkin, I could argue, could be a leadoff. He could be a leadoff. He has a little bit of speed, and he was a very good hitter.
And then
good guy to put on.
Probably number 5 in the line, Mr. Wade Boggs.
Oh, yeah. I mean, can you imagine all those guys? Although I would argue he could do a number 3 hitter, too, guaranteed to get in front of Frank Thomas. Get on base.
Juan Gonzalez. He's, he's going to be later on in the lineup, but, I mean, you're still talking about a line of people who you do not want to face.
No. Once you get to 7th, even 7th and 8th in this lineup is good.
Tom Pagnazzi would probably be your weak spot.
9th. Yeah, Tom Pagnazzi's at the end.
But just this list of cards is... Oh, that's going to be a hard lineup. Now, is it going to beat our 93 team? Not a chance. But...
No, but but here's the thing, though. I will say they have the pitching advantage in this 95 set. Clemens over Morris.
Yeah. Plus, you could have, if you really wanted to argue, you could have Maddox or Glavine come in as your closer.
Yeah, I mean, and you're gonna get the 3 outs necessary if you bring up one of those 2 guys to.
Even if any of those guys come in as a mid reliever, it's game over.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's like I think that even Maddox and Glavine are probably a little bit better than Jack Morris too. The pitching was amazing on this.
The pitching was very good. Yeah, I mean, I would argue that it's kind of all around a really great dream team. I mean,
oh yeah, I love the infield. First to third is just great. I mean, just so much talent on that field.
Just a lot, yeah, for sure. Well, great episode, Randy. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. We're pushing that hour and 15 mark, so I think we'll go ahead and leave on this nice dream team that we've assembled. And we will continue to hope that the Dodgers don't make it into the World Series. I'm not confident in that hope, but hey, you never know. Throw a little bit of that juju out there and it might happen.
Yeah, I mean, all we could do is hope by the time we talk about this next week, we're not talking about game 2 or 3 of the Yankees-Dodgers World Series.
Yep, we'll see. I mean, Yankees-Dodgers will take whatever comes, but I'd prefer it to be maybe the Mets and the Yankees, a little Subway Series kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Mets either, but I like them a million times better than both those teams.
Indeed. All right, well, thanks.
Although if the Mets took it, hand it to the Yankees.
Well, thank you, everyone, for watching. Great 95 set. We'll do a couple videos on the future stars, see who actually made it anywhere, who didn't. And we'll go from there. Next week, we're going to do 96 tops. It's going to be 2 top sets in a row, but the 96 set was an interesting one. It had Jeter's rookie in it, so it's real popular. A lot more inserts and a full year of baseball to work off of. So, kind of excited for it, and hopefully you guys will be too. Thanks again, Randy, for joining me today, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, everyone.